And we're back. Hello and welcome back to Life and Love Post-COVID. I'm your host, Ari Kardosh, and today I get to chat with the amazing Nina Camille. Nina is a powerhouse in the world, in life. And darling, it's been so beautiful getting to know you more and more over the time. I'm so glad we connected. So anyways, welcome. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and get to tell the audience who you are.
Yeah, I'm Nina Camille. Nice to meet those of you who are here. Thank you so much for having me, Ari. And I am the owner and creator of a business called Experience Freedom. And we do an online suite of programs and luxury retreats and facilitator training for people who are on the path of discovering the truth of who they are and living as that and wanting to give their gifts in service to humanity and live a really beautiful, epic life where they experience deep connection to themselves and each other and live free from the inside out.
Which is like spot on what this whole week is about. So I'm like, yes, you have to be here. Come share. But so this sounds amazing. All the things you do, your business, how you're showing up in the world and serving the world. But how did you get here? Would you just share a little bit of your own journey?
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, how do I share this in like more of a nugget size? Because sometimes that share can,
if you could do like 5 minutes or less, how's that? Because it's a really beautiful story and I want people to hear it.
Yeah. So I'll just start by sharing that I was an only child and I grew up in a very chaotic home environment, and I was very psychic and very sensitive, and not having any peers or anyone to talk to or relate to or feel seen by, led me into building really deep connection with plants and trees and animals. And as I started to grow up, I learned very quickly in school that one of the ways I could avoid being home, which is somewhere I did not want to be, was by making friends and being likable. And so I got very, very skilled at learning what other people wanted from me and being that. I made a ton of friends that way. And I was a social butterfly as a child, definitely more introverted now as an adult than I was back then. But a lot of my, social butterfly-ness was really rooted in trying to escape an environment that felt really unsafe and uncomfortable for me as a young, sensitive being. And so as I grew up, I mastered this art of getting people to like me and being popular and fun. And, a lot of those things are actually true to my nature, but I found some of those strengths and I used them to create a role for myself and to get safety. And so I started drinking through high school and, doing all of the things that I thought I was meant to do. And I kind of achieved a lot of the external success I was supposed to achieve by my mid-20s. I had a really great boyfriend, a beautiful apartment. I had a cool job. I was an entrepreneur running destination music festivals. And, there was a lot of drinking and nightlife and partying involved. And I was, rubbing elbows with the coolest DJs before they were even blowing up. And so we were like the coolest of the cool kids in this industry and world that was actually really glorified at the time. This was about a decade ago. And I kind of looked around like, okay, I have all the cool friends and great apartment, great partner, good job. Why do I feel super bored and empty inside? I love these people, but there's just something that's missing. And I didn't know what it was. And so I kind of, decided to scrap my entire life in San Diego and move to the Caribbean and become a yoga teacher. And like when any of us like scrap our life and start over, we actually bring all of our patterns along with us. And so even though my environment was different and I was given this opportunity to kind of reinvent myself, I still only knew how to make friends by partying. And so I continued that path where I kind of felt split in between worlds, where I was, on my spiritual path and meditating and practicing yoga and teaching yoga and involved in the community in a really mindful, beautiful way and writing about the journey of awakening and healing. And then I was also drinking and partying and making friends that way. And so I lived this kind of like double life and I wasn't hiding it. People knew it and they were like, I can't figure you out. And it was really because I couldn't figure myself out. And then, of course, as many of us people who consider themselves healers and coaches do. I had a series of unfortunate events that occurred in a very short span of time where pretty much all of my biggest fears came true. And
Oh, wow.
I got heartbroken, and it was really the first time I allowed myself to feel my own pain. And so when I got like shattered apart by this heartbreak, it wasn't just the pain of this relationship that I was feeling. It was like every ounce of pain I had been numbing with alcohol and drugs and socializing my entire life. And it was really the first time that I allowed myself to crack open. And
Wow.
I noticed that because I was still drinking and numbing in my own ways, I was kind of dragging this process out for a really long time. It was like 6 months, and I was still just in it so hard, like so sad and so heartbroken. And I'm like, man, something isn't working. Like, this is not sustainable. And I remember I had this like wake up moment where I was at a bar in Fort Lauderdale, and there was this like yoga workshop with this traveling instructor that was in town only that weekend. And instead, here I was on a Sunday fun day with people that I didn't really relate that deeply with. And I'm like doing key bumps of cocaine in the bathroom, and I'm drinking on a Sunday at this bar called American Social. And I remember looking around and being like, Nina, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh my
What are
God.
you doing?
Sorry. You got cut off. Sorry.
All right.
I think you're back. There you go.
So in that moment, I kind of woke up and got myself into this radical alignment where I quit drinking, I quit doing drugs, I stopped sleeping with people I wasn't in love with. I just went on this like charge forward path of get my
Wow.
shit from the
What
inside
a
out.
pivotal moment.
Yeah. And, I just got sick of my own shit and delaying my own healing by running from it. And so, I did the trainings and I did all the things and started health coaching and made a lot of big life changes in a short period of time. And about 3 months in, I got a phone call, and I found out that my best friend had died out of nowhere from an accidental overdose. And we were
Oh
30,
God.
and it again like rocked me to my core. And, when something like that hits you, it's like you question every single thing that's in your reality. And so I noticed that I was heartbroken and totally shattered, but I had been taking really good care of myself for the last few months and really getting into alignment. And so here I was, grieving the death of my brother, basically. And I had these grown men who I've known since I was 11 years old, just like crying in my lap. And I was the first person to speak at his service of 350 people. And I was noticing, oh, okay, so when I treat my body like shit and I go through heartbreak, it drags out forever and I am kind of like this waste of space. But when I take care of myself, I can actually still get my heart broken and not only move through it with some grace on my own, but help other people move through it alongside me. I don't have to be perfectly healed in order to hold my community through really challenging times. And so that was basically when my coaching business was born, because during that experience, I was sharing a lot on social media because I had that prior reputation of, party girl, where I had a big following and people were interested in my life enough. And people started to reach out to me and ask me, hey, Nina, I've watched you like go through some serious transformation and some shit over the last 9 months. And somehow like you continue to have something beautiful to share, and you've kept your head above water. Clearly you figured something out. Can you help me? And I was like, actually, yeah. And so I started to do the deeper work with people and create a system where people could take care of themselves and move through their life with grace, no matter what was occurring inside of them or outside of them.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And what a journey you've been on and are still on, and just in the next chapter. And it's been beautiful to watch you get such a have such a ripple effect in the world. So I'm curious, specific to this event, I'm curious what you've seen going on for people, as the people who are coming to you for support. Specifically, like what have you seen happening around COVID and how people have reacted? Like, because it's a lot to take on. It's a lot of grief. It's a lot of let go. It's a lot of constriction. What have you seen happening?
My gosh, so much. There's definitely a large scale wave of collective grief. And for those of you who don't know me, I just recently said goodbye to my mother in this form. And it really, though I've been deeply touched by grief before losing my brother 5 years ago and that changing my life, what I really learned through the experience of grieving my mom was just how ill-equipped we are as people to not only grieve ourselves, but to care for others who are grieving. We're like not taught about how to do this thing that like could not be more natural to the human experience, right? Like everything is impermanent and we're all going to lose people that we love in form, at least. Like people die. It's is the only guarantee is that at some point this body is just going to not anymore.
Yeah.
And we're also grieving lifestyle and so many plans that we had and visions for the future and things we thought we would do. Everything has changed. And we're not taught how to grieve in a beautiful way, right? Where grief is love and grief is honoring. And so that's been a really big theme because I consider myself like a grief connoisseur at this point. A lot of people come to me about grief because I can speak to it and love it like so powerfully. And another thing that I've noticed is that people have handed away their freedom of choice because we're being told what we can and can't do. We're being given this like list of rules and restrictions. And because at least in the West, we're a very law-abiding type of population, like if there's a stop sign, people generally stop at it. The whole planet is not actually that way. If you go to a lot of other countries, they don't actually give a shit about like rules and restriction and law and order as much as we do in the West. And there's beauty to that because it has kept relative stability for a while. And it also has us forget the truth of who we are and the sovereignty that we actually have in all moments, right? Where we have our power, we choose to opt into society and culture and these ways of being so that we can, continue to be loved by our family, by our friends, so that, we don't get in traffic jams or accidents. There are lots of good reasons why we might comply with the rules and structure that exists. But during times like this, where there's so much conflicting information and we're being told about how to be and who to be, I find that it's been ever more important to really ask ourselves, like, what's true for me in this moment, and to have the audacity to honor that, even when there might be news or social media or people that you really love telling you to be a different way or to abandon something that feels intuitively true for you for the sake of the greater good, or for however way that we might be manipulated or coerced or controlled. So yeah, it's been challenging to watch how many people are really struggling with this idea of freedom of choice. And, my business was called Experience Freedom long before COVID was a thing. And now I'm like, ooh, okay, like this is a big conversation that I get to lead and have because I signed up for it before this was a thing. And now I need to like really understand what that means for people in a totally different context.
Yeah. And I'm curious what you've seen in the past. It feels like the past maybe several weeks, months, maybe months, I would say more several weeks. I'm feeling this collective shift. I'm feeling more of a, hey, there's this new sense of possibility, I feel like, in the air. Like people are coming out of something, coming out of the dark, coming out of their houses, coming out of feeling trapped by their own stories in many ways. And it's like, okay, now how do I lean into what's next? And a lot of people, there's a lot of curiosity, there's a lot of like interest, but I also have been feeling a lot of like hesitant, right? There's this like, so when you work with clients, I'm gonna zoom out to like the bigger picture. When you're working with clients and they're like, yeah, Nina, freedom sounds awesome. And how the heck do I even start? Like how do you help people begin that journey of finding their freedom, figuring out what it is they desire? Like, what does freedom even mean to them?
Yeah. Yeah, I love the word that you used, curiosity, because that for me is like the biggest window. Most people don't know what they want or how they want to be loved. I get on
Yeah.
retreats and day one, I'll ask like, how do you like to be loved? Do you like to be touched? Do you like words? Do you want a pat on the back, high five, hug? Do you want to be left alone? Like, how do you want to be loved? And I can't tell you how many people just like look at me and just tears well up in their eyes. Like, oh my God, I don't know. And I'm like, cool, let's find out. Let's like test it. Let's throw some shit at the wall and see what works.
Yes.
Uh, and that's really what, to me, a journey of freedom is a curious self-discovery. It's not like a place that we arrive to. We get to some sense of freedom that we always wanted, and then we go, oh, okay, like what's next? What else is there? We're on like this winding journey through a rose garden. It's not a linear path,
Yeah.
as much as our mind wishes it was.
Yes.
And step that I have, I mean, there are two major first steps that I have everybody begin with. And the first is like radical self-care for the body.
Mm.
So like sleep, hydration, nutrition, movement, meditation, like that. We can't experience freedom if our body is in adrenal fatigue and panic because our needs aren't met. Like, so simple. People will come to me with this like massive existential crisis, and I'm like, oh, like tell me a little bit more about your life. And they get 4 hours of sleep a night. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, you're fine. You're just tired. Like you just need to rest and care for your body and start to understand what your needs are. And many of us don't feel safe being in our body, let alone knowing what it needs. And then we get to express those needs or meet them for ourselves. And those are often the biggest hurdles. And so radical self-care and daily meditation in silence, not guided meditation, which is great too, but sitting with yourself in silence, as uncomfortable as it is in the very beginning, like there's just no more powerful tool for healing. It's been done for over 5,000 years. It's completely free. And it is the most powerful thing you can do to change your entire life for many, many reasons that I don't have time to list. But like, if you're not meditating every day, you're missing out on like just such a massive tool that will melt away obstruction and like nonsense and create inner peace. It will heal your body and your brain and build self-trust. And yeah, it's
many
really,
things.
yeah.
I'm curious before we go, we haven't got number 2 yet, but so many people here, I mean, meditation is a word that is thrown around all over the place now. And I have found that if I say, do you have a meditation practice? And then I ask, what does it mean to you? I will get 100 different answers. So if somebody is like, oh my God, you just said the thing, you just said meditate, and they don't have a meditation practice, how can they begin?
Yeah, I tell them to sit down and eliminate distraction. And I'll usually teach them one of two methods. The easiest one that I started with myself and I tend to offer clients is just a deep meditation practice by Yogani, where you put yourself in a comfortable seated position, whatever that means to you, because sitting cross-legged on the floor is not actually comfortable or accessible for many bodies. So maybe you need to lean against a wall, but sitting up, straight spine, closing the eyes, silence around you, no distractions. And you can allow a mantra to enter into your mind. I suggest the words, I am. And if the words in English, I am, don't work for you, you can just use the sound AYAM, I am, and you allow it to silently enter your mind and you repeat it in silence. So you're relaxed in your body, you take a few deep breaths and I am, I am, I am, I am. And eventually you'll be like, I am, oh, fuck, I gotta check those emails. And then who's going to pick up the kids? I wonder if I'm doing this right. Why am I just sitting here for no reason? Now I'm not meditating. I'm just thinking, okay, come back to the mantra. I am, I am, I am, I am. And that's what meditation is like for everyone. I mean, I've meditated every day for over 2 years straight without skipping a single day. And it's still like that for me a lot of the time. And it works. So the beauty of meditation is that even if it's that constant dance between thinking and favoring the mantra, thinking and favoring the mantra, you're still getting the benefit. So you don't have to like it. You're still receiving what it's meant to do for you, whether it's enjoyable or whether it's miserable.
Yes. And I just want to say that you're not screwing it up. You're not doing it wrong. if you're in that state and you're like, oh, I had a thought. It's like, no, we have thoughts. Come back, keep going. You're doing great. And it doesn't mean you have to set like your first day, don't sit down and set an alarm for an hour, right? It's like, start small, start baby steps, like do this thing and say, I meditated. Just give yourself the pat in the back of like, I did the thing that felt really hard to start. And that's how my journey began too, of like, how do I lean into this? But I agree 100%. It's one of the juiciest tools out there and most transformational tools out there. And people don't understand it because it takes a little bit of time to get going and get used to. And then once it's there, it's like, holy cow, how did I not know this was always with me? So anyways, we rabbit holed, coming back.
Wow.
So you were saying there were two things you did with your clients to start. The one was radical self-care.
Yeah. And the next was meditation.
Okay.
But if I was going to add a third, reestablishing a feeling of safety in the body. And that's really what radical self-care is laying the foundation for. And so like reconnecting to our body, reconnecting to felt senses where it actually feels safe to experience in our body, pleasure, like our emotions, whatever it is, we got to boil it down to the felt sense, because most of us spend so much time escaping our trauma by leaving the body that the idea of coming back into the body is terrifying. And we've just got to practice and start somewhere. And so that's usually where I begin with people, is starting to get them into an experience of feeling their own body physically and maybe even liking it at some point.
Do you have a short exercise you and I could do just for like feeling the body?
There's a handful, the one that I really enjoy. Yeah, I mean, tapping is a really easy one,
Yeah.
One of the things that I try to get people to do, and people includes myself as well, to get back into their body, the quickest, fastest way is to like literally just like slap the tops of my thighs and like the sides of them, and like really just feel my legs from the knee to the hip and breathing into the root chakra. And I just sometimes say like, I'm here. When I'm like in my head or somewhere else, or I'm thinking about the future and everything that could possibly go wrong, I just like come back down, and the lower part of our body tends to bring us in so much more quickly. Sometimes just like tapping on the heart will like get me down into my body a little bit more. But I find that waist down like really gets us into our aliveness and into our humanity.
Yes.
A lot of us tend to like spiritually bypass, or we jump out of our body by going up. We want high level awareness. It's been like glorified and celebrated so much. Like, how much higher up can you go? How wide can you get? Really, a lot of what's actually missing is the descent.
Groundedness.
Yeah. Come back down the mountain once you've climbed it, and like bring the divinity and the beauty and the love that you've discovered up here in like the upper realm back down into your human. Because guess what? This is the carrier. Like your body is the only thing that you're going to take with you this whole life. And this incarnation, this is it. You in this thing. And so the more that we can like really be inside of it and enjoy it and live it, we actually feel more on purpose, and we feel in alignment with our mission, because we're meant to be inside of it. Otherwise we'd be up there, but we're not. We're inside here. So we got to like love this thing. And it's part of where our freedom exists too, because if freedom for you is escaping, you're not really going to feel safe. Freedom has to be, I'm free to meet this moment in its entirety without having to change it.
Yes.
And I can exist in harmony alongside it, and in my body, in my human, even if I'm not sure how it's all going to work out, because sureness is not really a thing.
Not really a thing. We love the idea of having control. Right?
So, yeah, we have influence, but life has unexpected miracles, and sometimes it has unexpected devastation, and we get to be present for all of it, and we're capable of being present for all of it. We just don't always know that.
Yes. So good. So I'm just gonna go back and repeat what I heard you say. So when people are looking to really experience their freedom, starting with looking at how am I, this is radical self-care, how am I taking care of myself? How am I really taking care of my body, the hydration, the sleep, the what kind of food am I putting to myself? Really taking a look at myself first. And then I'm going to say climbing the mountain, going up and really connecting with yourself and something bigger than you, if that's your belief system, through meditation. And then coming back down into the body and how am I creating my own safety and really feeling in myself and knowing myself. And a great way to do that is through grounding in some sort of way. But I love that you did the slapping and the heart tapping. These are awesome, quick ones you can do even from sitting at your desk at your office or your home office, which is beautiful. And then from that place, I just, for me personally, I'm like, wow, when I do those three things, I already have such a deeper sense of knowing what I desire. And I already have such a deeper confidence. I guess confidence is the right word, of like, okay, I'm worthy. I can go do this thing. And I started getting even more curious about how I can go achieve that thing. And then you have this entire program that just leads people like, okay, let's do this, right? And like, let's really experience your own freedom, not just here, but taking it out and having a ripple effect too, which I think is so amazing. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today?
I love the way that you just summarized what I shared. So thank you. And the descent, the back down into the body can also be through any sort of movement practice. So dance and jump, like I have a tiny little trampoline that I jump on when I need to. It could be like jumping jacks or push-ups, like reminding you that you have a body is really helpful. And if you challenge your body, you'll get in it real quick. So
Yes.
like yoga, weightlifting, running, dance, like anything that requires some sort of strength and intention tends to remind us of how strong we are.
That's true.
And it gets us back here in this moment. And I love what you shared, that what happens after that is like a world of possibility, but also a sense of peace within that, where there's less, I need to go do this in order to get the win for my ego, and more, oh, I'm actually okay. And I get to follow inspiration. It's less about, oh, I have to be of service to humanity so that I can feel good, so that I'm a good human, so that I trust that I'm worthy of love. That's kind of backwards. What we want is to trust that we're love and therefore worthy of that which we are. And then we follow the thing that's genuinely inspired in us. And that's where we get that heart-based, really epic, powerful service that's really coming from love and coming from overflow and not from this need to prove.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And this shows up so much for me as a mom too. Like, yeah, because when all of those things are aligned, my ability to love on my children, my ability to love on my family is just so different. Right. So it's not just with like your career or your life purpose, it's everywhere. It has a huge life impact. One of my clients, we were working on similar things, and she said, and she was deeply in love with her dog. And she was blown away by how her relationship with her pet changed just by starting to put these things in place, right? Like things just will shift when you're really coming into alignment with yourself. So this is really, really, really cool. Yeah. So yay. And Ms. Nina, do you have anything you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, like my free gift.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have a free gift. If anyone is feeling a resonance in anything that I've shared or curious, I have a recorded masterclass called Magnetic Authenticity, and we actually go through an embodied expression experience. And so if you're looking for that way to move energy through your body, emotional energy, or maybe something that's been stored or backed up or that you're hiding or you don't really know what to do with, I guide you through an embodied movement practice using music to be free of that, from maybe some of the compacted pockets of energy that we tend to drag around as human beings. So yeah, you've got the link for it.
I got the link. I'm going to share it out with everybody. It'll be coming to everyone very soon. And Nina, how do we follow you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, and it's at ITSNINACAMILLE. So it's at It's Nina Camille. Include the it's, because a lot of people hear the it's and they're like, I couldn't find you at Nina Camille. I'm like, no, it's Nina Camille. And yeah, I respond to every message I ever receive. So if you are like, oh, I feel like I want to talk to this person, please just reach out and connect with me, because that's what I'm here for. I love having these conversations, and I've really enjoyed my relationship with social media and being able to use it as a platform to connect to people who might be geographically far away from me, but are close in heart. So yeah, the invitation to connect with me is always wide open and fun.
Thank you so much. This is amazing. And you gave so many beautiful tools for all of our listeners, and I'm going to take some of them in too. And I want to check out your magnetic authenticity gift. It sounds amazing. So thank you, my dear, so much for being here. And I'll share your links and all the things with the whole group. And if anybody's tuning in afterwards and you have questions for Nina, you can also comment in the group chat, and I'll make sure to pull her in. She can answer the questions there. So yay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and I will see you later. Bye.
Bye.